Shalom everyone, Shavua Tov and happy after Pesach days. Now we are cruising for the next date, which is Lag BaOmer and then Shavuot, in the counting of the Omer. And as we said before, it is a very significant time. The time of the Omer is a time of cleansing, and we said that the weeks of the readings of the book of Leviticus, Vayikra, are crucial because that's all focusing on cleansing, refinement, purification, and so on. And we'll see how it is important. Now, we have a little issue over here. And what's the issue? Since yesterday was Shabbat in Israel, but it was Shabbat holiday outside Israel. So the reading yesterday outside Israel was of the holiday of Pesach, Shmini, the 8th day of Pesach. Okay, the reading in Israel was Shmini. So this week, outside Israel, is Shmini, and in Israel, it is Tazria-Metsora. And we are going to be like shifting side by side, but in different lanes, till Shavuot. It's going to be like this till after Shavuot. So how do you celebrate? I don't know, but you can celebrate both. Shmini, you already have it online, and Tazria-Metsora this week. So you have to really, really concentrate to be in Israel and in Jerusalem in order to enjoy the this week's Tazria-Metsora for the ones who are not in Israel. And if you're not in Israel anyway, you're supposed to be in Israel, because what do you have to look for outside of Israel? It's like, okay, no energy. Okay, so we are in Parashat Tazria, chapter 12, verse 1, and we are reading again two parashot using basically the same issue, and we'll cover up the issues. Parashat Tazria starts with something that looks like difference. Vaydaber Hashem Moshe le'emor, and the Creator spoke to Moses, saying, Daber bnei Israel, speak to the children of Israel, saying, Isha ki tazria v'yalda zachar. Now we have a problem. The word is Isha ki tazria. Isha ki tazria means that will give seed. Women do not give the seed, the man is giving the seed. What is this verb, which is like not in place? More than that, if you go, earlier we went in another class, we spoke about, we read one of the, some of the greatest translations, they simply translated a woman that will conceive. That's not the word for conception. Tazria means giving seed. Ve'yalda zachar, and she will give birth to a male. Okay, just a second. Because the word ki tazria is not really clear, so a lot of people think, if I know what does it mean ki tazria, then I know how to get babies, boys, which means, at least, especially if you have 2 girls already, 3 girls, 4 girls. I heard yesterday was somebody that he had 14 girls, number 15 was a boy. Okay, but who can wait and try 15 times to get a boy? It's like, so here's a secret. And I heard a lot of people trying to get boys using this idea. I didn't know anyone who really got the point. And we'll see why. The Yalda Zachar shall give birth to a boy, and then she'll be impure for 7 days, like a woman that is menstruating. She's the 7 days she has to be clean after she stopped menstruating. It's the same thing. And the 8th day, he will be circumcised. Okay? So it talks about that, if it's a girl, if it's a boy, if it is a girl. And then that's chapter 12. And then comes chapter 13. Verse 1. And it says, Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe ve'Aaron lemor. Again, it's the Creator speaks to Moses and Aaron, saying, Adam ki yeh be'or besaro se'eto sapachat. If a man, a person, has on his, and that's a word that was very weird over here, be'or besaro, in the skin of his flesh. What does that mean? Either skin or flesh, right? Se'eto sapachat, a growth, or a kind of something else on it, or baheret, or bright spots. והיה באור בשרו לנגד, so that will be the malignant tzaraat, wrongly translated into leprosy. There's a skin disease that is called leprosy. This is not tzaraat. Tzaraat is something else, and we'll explain. והובא אל הכהן, he should be brought to the Kohen, Aaron the Kohen, or one of his sons, the Kohanim, וראה הכהן, and then there's a whole description about diagnosing the tzaraat, that leprosy, and healing that leprosy. Okay, and that goes for a while, a long, like few chapters, and that story, and then comes another one that's already still in Parashat Ki Tazria. Okay, for whoever thought that tzaraat is leprosy, which is a skin disease, I have some news for you. Okay, how do you know? You go to chapter 13, okay, verse 16. והבגד כי יהיה בו נגע צרעת, and the garment, in case there will be tzaraat in the garment. Have you heard about, the skin disease of garments? That's kind of, tough. In בבגד צמר, either wool, or בבגד פשתים or linen, or בשתי בערב, and so on, or even leather, all kinds of other garments. והיה נגע, and there's a whole definition how to define the leprosy. Have you ever heard about garments having leprosy? This is weird. Okay? You think this is weird? It goes even worse than that. If you go into that leprosy, it's a skin disease. Okay? So then we go more about the purification of the leper, which is in Parashat Metsora. Okay? And that goes on for a little while till we come into chapter 14. And then in chapter 14, verse 34, it says, Ki tavo el eretz Canaan, as you come to the land of Canaan, asher ani noten lachem lachuzat, and I'm giving you as an asset, ונתתי נגע צרעת בבית ארץ אחוזתכם, and I will give tzaraat in the house of your dwellings, or your asset. Okay? So what will happen in this case? Again, calling the Kohen to diagnose if this is a real tzaraat, okay? And he says it looks like a leprosy in the house. And then the Kohen, and there's a whole, I won't go into the details, you can read in the commentaries, but we need, what does it mean? A human being with that disease, clothes, and houses with it. And how is that connected to the woman that is giving birth to a boy? Huh? How is all connected? It is all connected. So of course, you need a Zohar in order to figure out what's happening over here. So as we are taking the Zohar for help, let's go for it. Okay, so here is what the Zohar has to tell us. I'm reading a Zohar of Parashat of Perush HaSulam, and it says as forward. Verse 9 in Perush HaSulam, in the Sulam translation. Okay, so it says like this. Isha ki Tazria, we learn. Isha mazra tchila yoledet zachar. If a woman is doing that thing that is called giving seed, she will give birth to a boy. That is, and again, as I said, this is something like, what does it mean, mazrat? What does it mean, tazria? Nobody understands it. Nobody. So, but this, as I said, this is the secret of bringing boys. Okay? Rabbi Echa Amar. So Rabbi Echa says, remember the Zohar usually has this tendency to bring us something that we call the pshat, the simple explanation. Okay, that's what everybody knows. But what does it mean? Okay? And he says, we learned that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Creator, God, He decrees on that drop, okay, if it's going to be a male or a female, okay? Once upon a time, they blamed the woman from here, because something the woman has to do in order to bring boys. So if she brings only girls, something must be her fault, right? Then science came and found out that the man is one who determines it, because in the man's sperm there are two kinds of sperm. There's the X chromosome and the Y chromosome. The woman is always X chromosome. So if the Y chromosome fertilizes the egg, it will be a boy. If the X chromosome will fertilize the egg, that will be a girl. So who's to blame? That depends on the father. Okay? But then the common knowledge was that whoever will come first, either the X or the Y, they will fertilize the egg. That is kind of primitive, because the first sperm cells that arrives to the egg cannot fertilize the egg, because the egg is surrounded by a special wall of protection. The first sperm cell cannot fertilize the egg, cannot get in. So he has to wait till all his brothers will come, a lot of them at least, maybe a million, and everybody, all of them together, starts to dig in, to break the wall. And the moment they break the wall, one cell comes in. Everybody else stays outside. Okay? Who determines which one will come in? X or Y? The one with the blue eyes, the one with the brown eyes. Who determines that? And then it says, tradition says, that it says in many places, many midrashim, also in the Talmud, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gozer al hatipa. The Creator decrees this person will be fertilizing the egg. So it's not the man, it's not the woman. Okay? Oh, now we have somebody else to blame. Imu zachar o nekeva. And he will determine if it's a boy or girl, blue eyes, brown eyes, whatever, if there's a possibility like this. Okay, so we can blame now somebody else. V'ata omer, and now you're saying, Isha mazrat tchila yoledet zachar. It depends not on God, it depends on the woman. Okay, that's confusing. So you don't need the decree of the Creator. We don't need His decision. So there's kind of a contradiction. You're like, what's the right thing? So, Amar Rabbi Yossi. So Rabbi Yossi answers, ודאי שהקדוש ברוך הוא מבחין בין טיפה של זכר ובין טיפה של נקבה. God knows to see the difference between a drop of a male and a drop of a female. Of course, God knows what's an X chromosome and a Y chromosome. So He will give the soul according to the chromosome of the sperm cell that is fertilizing the egg. Okay, so we're going back to whose fault is it? The woman, the man, if it's only boys, and you want a girl. If it's only girls, you want a boy, right? I know some people, they're like, after 7 boys, they get finally a girl. Can you imagine a little baby girl growing around 7 boys? Wow, that's a tikkun, right? You had that? 6 girls, wow. Okay, Pirush. So now we have to explain it and what's in it for us. Let's say I'm not planning right now to have a new child. Okay, so what's in it for me? What should I do with that? And the answer is like this. And slowly, you bear with me. Perush, Gimel Shutafim Ba'adam. So Rabbi Ashlag explains, as it's known in the sources by our sages, there are three partners to a man, to a person, to create a person. 3 partners. What's his 3 partners? It's his father, his mother, and God. Okay, so you have 3 partners in the creation of each one of us. Now, and it says that the white in the person is coming from his father. Okay, imo ha'adom shebo, his mother, the red in him. You kidding? We know that it's like in the red blood cells, we have genes from your father and from your mother. Now we know that white is chesed and red is gevura. This one you get from your father, this one you get from your mother, and Rabbi Zechariah explains even more. Your father is giving you the surrounding light, and your mother is giving you the internal light. That's white and red in code. Okay? Why? Surrounding light will give you the push to move forward, and the Internal light will give you your identity about who am I? What am I? Okay? So, but that's a whole discourse for reincarnation course. I'm not going to go too much into it, although we're going to go a lot into it today. Same aspect. So, and the father and the mother, they give the surrounding light, as we said, and the internal light. However, God will give the soul. What does it mean? So, what am I going to do with that piece of information? And there's an explanation. Now, if the drop is a male, then God is giving the soul of a male. If it's a female, then He gives the soul of a female. נמצא שבזה שאישה היא זריעה. So we learn that if the woman, she brought the seed first, whatever, we have no idea what does it mean. There's something that depends on the woman, that she does that. עוד לא הייתה טיפה בסופה לזכר, אם הקדוש ברוך הוא לא שלח בה נשמה של זכר. Which means the woman does something to determine this is a man, this is a boy, and not a girl, but the Creator has to agree upon it. Confused? Okay, we'll explain it. So, in case of that, so there's no contradiction. The woman decides, and God knows what she decided. Then He approves or not approves, because every time, let's say, fertile couple are having relations, they get pregnant? No, most times they don't, right? How many times fertile couple are trying to get pregnant, and the doctors are trying to test? No problem. Everything is okay. Whatever, the business does work. The factory is operating properly, but no production. What happened? And suddenly, when they give up, or when they're tired, some out of the blue, she's pregnant. Right? Happens so many times. Okay, we'll explain what does it mean and how it's connected to our parasha. It is connected to our parasha very closely. And it says, I'll explain it this way. Okay, which is about, there's two things into it. Last year I spoke a lot about free will, but here it's much deeper than that. The point is like this. Rabbi Zakluria explains that and the Zohar is full of these kind of articles in these parashot, Tazria and Metsora. And he's saying like this. When a couple is having relations, the mother is supplying with a certain energy, emotional energy, and spiritual energy, depends, that is being called internal light. Okay? The energy that the father supplies is called surrounding light. Surrounding light. What does it mean? If you see a child that is very, very active, says Rabbi Zachariah, very, very active, it means that his father supplied him with a very active surrounding light. So, ADHD, that's the fault of the father. He was very much awake at the moment. Now, if the child is very slow, says Rabbi Zakluria, it means that the father was kind of tired at that moment and his energy was kind of low and slow, then you find it. Now, if the child is very conservative, sticking to who he is, whatever he is, and is very deep into that's the way I am, and is very focused on that, that's the internal light, that's the mother. Now, some mothers supply internal light, which has a very high quality, which means the child is very focused from birth into being very spiritual, very positive. Some children, you don't have to educate too much, they just know it. And some children, you have to educate and run after them and educate, and it seems to be that they have their own, they don't care about it. This is the internal light that comes from the mother. Okay? So, if it's a very good child, you see he has like this quality of virtues and all kinds of positive qualities that he's born with, that's the mother. Had a very positive state of mind during the moment, this crucial moment. But if the child from beginning is not so, the quality is not so high, that's a mother also. Okay? So that's coming from surrounding that internal life. But this is not the topic. The topic is about something else. Here we're just talking about two people are going through a very important moment in their lives. And are generating, as Rabbi Zakluya is saying over the Zohar, you know what, it's like there's a description over here in the Zohar that is very, very precise. It says the moment the couple are having this relation and they are creating a kind of a vibration that is a composition of the spiritual and emotional energy of the father with the spiritual and emotional energy of the mother. Together, these two forces unite together, they create kind of a beam of energy. That beam of energy is like dialing a code. Dialing a code. If there is a soul that beam fits to, and that soul wants to come to earth, there will be a pregnancy. Which means every time a couple is trying to have a child, or not trying to have a child, they're just happen to be they're both fertile, she was ovulating or something like this, you're creating a beam of energy, and that energy freezes, which means it creates this message that it calls in that if God has in his supply a soul that fits that frequency, he will ship in the soul. Then the Zohar says, at that moment, if somebody has the ability to see beyond the five senses, he will see an image of a person, a grown-up, above the heads of the couple. If there's a soul that this image fits to, that soul is right now being hooked in to this couple, which means we know that the time from that copulation till fertilization could be a few hours till 3 days, correct? And if it's a, how do you call it? It's a artificial insemination, it can take years. The energy stays. What the Zohar says, this energy stays. This energy creates an image, tselem. That tselem has a quality of a positive or negative, and usually it's on the scale. Because let's say the father was very negative or the father was very positive. You have a scale of emotions. This image will become the spiritual image of the baby that will come out. If that fits to a boy, it will draw in the soul of a boy. If that fits to a girl, it will draw in the soul of a girl. But there's something very important over here. Because the Zohar says about it in Parashat Vayetze, Hakol talui bayhur. Everything depends on the thought. The thought determines everything, and we know that because before there's an action, there's a thought. Most people don't see the thought. What do you see? The outcomes. But everything is dependent on the thought. And here we have a thought, a moment, a split moment of a thought that the baby that will be born, the pregnancy will come out, different babies, different pregnancies. Some are tough, some are easy, some are joyful, some are full of pain and misery. Women who had babies, they know it's like every pregnancy, it's a story by itself, right? And then the birth will be a story by itself. Every birth is a different story, right? And then raising the child, each child is like, it's like you have to write one book for every child. Because the first book you read, How to Raise a Baby, that fit when be number 3, but didn't fit number 1, number 2, right? So every mother knows that. So what is it? What's going on over here? One thought determines all the line of time that will come later. The pregnancy, the birth, the raising up of the child, the growing up, and now this baby has to take also responsibility as it grows up, as we spoke about Pesach, become a grown up and say This is what I came with. This is what I needed. Now take responsibility, and that's what I'm going to do with what I've got. Okay? If you're grown up. If you didn't grow up, you're still complaining, whatever, for, my parents, the pregnancy, my past life, my kindergarten, grow up already. You came with what you had to come with. Now deal with it. Get the best out of it. If it's bitter, turn it into sweet. If it's dark, turn it into light. That's what you're here for. That's what the whole creation was. But what does that mean? So we learn. As we learn, when the Creator created the universe, the Creator created the universe as what? The creation is a female of itself. What do I mean a female? A recipient. And we were created, all of us, even the guys who think they are men, we were created as a female recipient agent, which means I want. What's new in the creation? I desire. I want. Ratzon in Hebrew. Now, the problem is, as we learned in the beginning, the first classes they study in Kabbalah, that was perfect. It was called the Endless. It was him and his name are one. The Creator and the creation were one. One little issue. We received so much light, and we wanted to be creators on our own. We wanted to be creators. We wanted to create. So what happened? We contracted. We pushed away the light, and as we pushed the light away, we became empty. And the moment we started to want the light all over again, to desire the light all over again, there was a problem. Why? Because we learn in spirituality that similarities attract. So now that we're empty, and we are totally black hole, emptiness, and we want so much, and now what do we want? The endless light. The endless light is about sharing unconditionally. Now, total desire, focusing on me, and only me, nothing but me, and the endless light, that doesn't go together. And that's why there's a legend says that in the beginning, the Creator created the world with judgment. What does it mean? It was created and then destroyed all over again. Why? Because you can't connect endless light with endless desire for the self alone. It doesn't go together. It doesn't go together. It explodes every time these two are in touch together. So there was a need for a second tzimtzum. There was a need for a second contraction. And the second contraction created a new kind of a vessel that had to give up a lot of its desire and to gain and to take in sharing. That's how the desire to receive for the sake of sharing has been created. So now we have two vessels. Vessel 1, that was immediately created, and vessel 2, that was created on the second tzimtzum. The first one, every time it awakens in us, it creates a short circuit. It's a high and by. A lot of light comes in. Whenever we are selfish, we enjoy much more from drugs and from being selfish, the first instant. And then what happens? Tzimtzum comes in. Tzimtzum is driving, sitting, controlling everything. You can't just receive. But you have a free will. You have to choose between your two vessels. One is more into the body consciousness, because we all know that if we just do what our body tells us to do, we'll kill ourselves very easily, right? If we just eat whatever we feel like eating. If we just say whatever we feel like saying. If we just do, all kind of whims that come from the body consciousness, that is self-destructive. Very, very early it will be over with life. So we have also the soul. And the soul is created from vessel 2. Vessel 2 wants less, but it wants also to share. So it has a built-in receiving and sharing. And when you receive for the sake of sharing, you're not finite as a ratzon, as a vessel, but you become infinite, because you take, the sages are saying, hafoch ratzon v'tishkach tzino. Take the word ratzon, desire, turn around the letters, and you get tzino, a pipe. What's the difference between a pipe and a vessel? The vessel has a hole in the bottom. So how much it can get through? Endlessly. A vessel, look, it looks like very weird because our logic, the body logic says, if I have a vessel, I can hold it in. Okay? How much can you hold in? This size, this size, this size, this size. How much stays outside? Endless. You're always feeling empty. You will always feel empty. Why? Because you always compare what I have and what I have outside, what is there outside. But the moment you are pipe, how much you can hold on, you don't have to hold on. You have everything. That's why the Torah is teaching us all the time, never be the last station of the flow. Never let the flow stand. You made a lot of money. You made a lot of money. You worked hard. By the way, everybody's working hard, making a lot of money. No. No. So it's not just you. You got something, tithe. What do you mean tithe? Take the bottom away. The 10th level, Malchut, take it away and move it over. What did you do? You did yourself, you created from an end of finite system, you created infinite system. Whatever you receive, happiness, joy, money, power, space, time. If you use it for others too, what do you create? Infinity of bliss, of everything. This is what we have to train ourselves. So, if the couple, let's go back to where we've been. If the couple is belonging to vessel one, which means they're both thinking just about themselves, just about their own self-pleasure, says the Zohar, the frequency that they generate in a crucial moment is a frequency that is called impure, or in Hebrew, a better word, tum'ah. Tum'ah comes from the word atuma, blocked. Blocked. It's blocked. The energy is blocked. And we all know that every disease starts from blockage. Okay? So let's go again. We'll open that part later on. The moment the couple are busy thinking just about themselves, they don't care about their mate. There's no love. It's only like we're having fun. It's entertainment. I have nothing else to do. Let's have sex. Or because I want to feel pleasure. I want to feel pleasure for myself. I don't care about anybody else. Even that person is my companion. So what? Let them enjoy themselves. I'm enjoying myself. When it's selfish, it belongs to vessel one. And the moment you connect to vessel one, which means you create tum'ah, blockage. Then the kind of a soul that you bring in is a soul that has a heavy burden of negativities and blockages. And that soul will come anyway. Don't worry. Don't worry. What if I just think positive, pure thoughts and love and caring, whatever? That soul will come to somebody else. Why should somebody bring the positive souls? There are enough people that can take care of the negative souls, right? And we know that on earth we need a lot of positive souls. So and Rabbi Zaklo is saying most people have a mixture of emotions and feelings and thoughts during that moment. It's a very high emotional level moment. If you train yourself to be pure, to be positive, and there's so many laws about the mikveh, about getting married, it's the whole holy matrimony. What does it mean? How do you create a circuitry inside that moment that can be so crucial because it's like a Russian roulette? That moment will determine a lot of what's happening with you for the rest of your life. Now, how is it connected to the rest of the story? So when we come in and talking about leprosy, what is leprosy about? So it's not a skin disease because the Torah does not speak about medical diseases. It's not pathology. Metsora, says the Zohar, is coming from the word motzi ra, motzi shem ra, bad mouthing. What do you mean bad mouthing? So we'll explain. Remember the two vessels, vessel one, vessel two? Vessel one, me, vessel two, us, Rav Ashlag is saying humanity has been created in a way that we need to be around people. We need a community. It takes a village to raise a healthy child. What does it mean? Why does it take a village? Because we were being created in a way that we have so many needs, we can't supply it by ourselves. So we need other people. And that means that you cannot be so selfish because if you need other people, you need to give them something service, a smile, respect. Otherwise, they won't give you what you need from them. So you're being forced, although you hate it. A lot of it, you hate it. Why? Why do I need people's favors? So you know what? Think about it. Why did the Creator did not create us as snails? You know snails, these creatures that go around with their homes with them and they fertilize themselves. Can you imagine? You don't need anybody's favors to bring a child to the world. You don't need to pay anyone to build your house. You don't need to pay anyone to buy a land. Why? You carry your house with you. You build your house yourself. You don't need anyone. What a curse. We were created as Rav Ashlag, as a social creature, so we learn to get out of our selfishness. Because by learning to care for others, we learn to connect to vessel 2, because vessel 2, desire to receive for the sake of sharing. The pipe is also called Kedusha, holiness. My rabbi used to say, holy with a WH. You become a whole when you share with others. When you create us, could be with spouse, friends, family, business, all of it. All of this is opportunities, and that's why in the book of Leviticus it says in chapter 18, love others as you love yourself. You're not doing anybody a favor. You're just learning to connect to your vessel 2. The vessel of Kedusha, the vessel of the network of holiness, of the flow, where energy goes through and spreads around. When you know that you can be happy only if you help other people to be happy. You are successful only if you make other people successful. This is the secret of everything, vessel 2. Now, what happens when we do not do the job? So we know Jewish spirituality and also spirituality in other civilizations around the world. The moment you start to get blocked, when is that you get blocked? Motzira. What is Motzira? Motzi Shemra. What is Motzi Shemra? Bad mouthing the other. But there are people that are sick, they never spoke a bad word about anybody else. Says the Zohar, you don't have to speak. Just complain. That moment, what are you doing? You're complaining about the creation. You are complaining about the Creator himself. The moment you're complaining, it means that you're not taking responsibility. You're not realizing that whatever is in front of you is set for you and for you alone to overcome, to grow, to transform, and to reveal the light and to turn yourself into a giving, sharing being. Things do not happen just by chance. And that's why we go back into it's all in the thought. It's all about the purification of the thought. So, some people can say the most nicest, polite words, and they make other people feel so horrible, so bad, so negative. You know what? By definition, this is Lashon Hara. This is bad mouthing. If your words are making somebody else feel less, or make somebody else feel less because you spoke to somebody, that is Lashon Hara. Why did you say these words? It's all starting with the thoughts. If the thought was under control, if you control the thoughts, and if you can say something kind or something productive or something helpful, don't say. So I'm going to hold it for myself. No, you have to transform the thought. You have to transform the feeling. The same thing. as a couple having an intercourse, that moment can decide their future. How many times we just said a word or a sentence, so we didn't think about it? It's giving birth. Saying a sentence can change other people's destiny and yours also. So it's all in the thought level. So when we are complaining, when we do not take responsibility, what do we create? We get into this like being upset because I don't like the way. It's not fair. It's not fair. I mean, it's not fair. We're not here about being fair. Whatever happens to you had to happen to you, and make it good, because it doesn't happen by mistake. So the moment you take responsibility, what happens? There's a flow. Because what I mean by take responsibility, okay, I experience right now some discomfort. You know, what does it mean being a grown-up? Grown-up is the ability to experience discomfort and to still go on with it. Correct? Let's say you want to build a business. You just open the business and immediately you become rich and famous and successful, right? Wrong. A lot of obstacles and difficulties. If you cannot overcome the difficulties, if you cannot say the difficulties are part of the game, and you want it immediate success, that's very childish. Everybody will tell you. It's very childish. No pain, no gain. You have to work for it. No free lunches. But the moment you get upset that it's not easy as you thought it should be, at that moment you're bad-mouthing the creation. And what happens when you do that? Your mind is in where? Like a child. I want it now. I want it good. And I don't care about, I have to work. I worked enough. I made enough effort. That's vessel one. What's the result? Tum'ah, atuma, blockage. Why is it that in the desert, people did not get diseases, only leprosy, only tzarat? You know what? Targum Onkelos, the Onkelos translation into Aramaic, every translation is also commentary. Hebrew is a magical language. It's a language of the creation. Aramaic brings it a little bit lower. So how does Onkelos translate tzarat? It doesn't say leprosy because it's sagiru. Sagiru is from the shoresh samech gimel reish. What is samech gimel reish? Block. It's a blockage. In the time in the desert, people could identify a mental spiritual blockage. Now, I know some people could see on the person the blockages on the meridians, the energy flow on the aura, whatever. It's all generating from the energy of the soul and the interaction with the body. When there is an emotional and a spiritual blockage, later on, if it's not dealt with, it becomes a blockage in the energy of the body flow. And if that is not being dealt with, that will be a physical blockage, and then we'll see in the cells of the body a change in a functioning or dysfunctioning. And that's called disease. Okay? Now, in the time of the desert, the Kohen could identify the blockage, the sagiru, just from the person's behavior. The person was not in tune with himself, with his environment. You must have some sagiru. You must have some tzarat. So the Kohen injected the energy of chesed to help the person to lift himself back to the place in which he takes responsibility. Whenever you feel judgment, inject loving kindness, chesed. And by this, you turn the blockage into an opening and bliss. That's what the whole thing is about. And everything depends on what? The thought. That thought is a reflection. Am I blocked? Am I open up? If my thought is negative and upset and blockage, that means I'm building up a problem in my life. A blockage with relationship, a blockage in the body, diseases, whatever. There's so many networks of energy that inside us, that we build around us, and they're all a result of, are we pure? Are we impure? Are we connected to the vessel one, me, tum'ah, blockage, or am I connected to the Holy One, which is a cycle, positive and flow? This is our job especially during the counting of the Omer, to find, especially in this week, to turn the judgment into judging our negative emotion so we can block it, the negative, and bring in positive and transform. This is what the whole thing is about. So when these two parashot are talking about talking, tzarat, giving birth to a word, giving birth to a sentence, giving birth to a relationship, to whatever you project to somebody else, this is crucial. You have to say, you have to prepare yourself, because that will determine where your life will flow. Your life flow with just which direction will it take you? Dealing with a lot of difficulties. Why? You have to overcome that blockage already. How do you know it's a difficulty? Whatever is difficult to person one will be difficult to person two? No, it connects to your tikkun. For some people, they just, oh, that was so easy. How dare you to say it was easy? It's so tough. He has no tikkun with that. You have a tikkun with that. Don't compare. The sages said, same way people's faces are not the same way their emotions are not the same, and their opinions are not the same. Okay, so what do we do with that? How do we fix with that? So it will come, and you see the levels. First is the high level of thought and emotion, bringing a child to the world. Then saying something. How do you speak? Just you can hear somebody, he's speaking very nice. Like he learned in Harvard or he learned in Oxford, right? He knows how to speak, but he's annoying. Why? Because it's not coming from the heart. It's coming from vessel one. It's coming from a place that is annoyed. He's right now cynical, negative, pessimistic. Why? He is in a state of mind of bad-mouthing the creation. At that moment, you already created a blockage. In that moment that you don't believe that everything is for the good, you're hurting yourself, first of all. Oh, misery likes company. Let me hurt somebody else. Oh, now somebody else hurt comes on your account. So, 2 minus in the bank gives you 2 minus, right? You have to work double in order to pay the minus. 2 minus doesn't become plus. Okay? So when you make somebody else negative because you're negative, doesn't make it positive, makes double negative. Sometimes you even have to come in another lifetime because you brought somebody else to be negative, and now you have to come back, to help him to become positive. Do you know what I'm saying? How many people you feel like, what? Why do I have to take care of that? Who knows how many lifetimes you're doing it? So don't judge it. Don't judge it. It's like if it's in your face, do it already. Do it already. You don't know how many times you're coming to do it already. Don't bend about creation. And what does it mean? You see the blockage, overcome it. Bring in positive energy. Bring in love, chesed, transform. This is what it is. So now we come to the next stage. And the next stage speaks about something very important, right? We say there's a leprosy of the clothes, the garments. What is leprosy of the garments? Have you ever seen garments with leprosy? And we know very well. If somebody, no, I don't, this is nonsense. Nonsense? What if I tell you that the brand name that you're wearing right now was done in Bangladesh by slave labor of little children cuffed in chains to the machines? How do you look right now on that garment? You can't wear it anymore. Why? It has leprosy. Because you feel the pain in the garment. We know that objects can experience and observe negativity. Correct? That's how it is. So that's leprosy. So that's why it says the Zohar. I'm going right now to Parashat Tazria, verse 146. Bore, come and see, כתוב. It is said, וכל הנשים אשר נשא ליבן אותן, היינו, all the women that were participating in the building of the tabernacle, and they were weaving, there were a lot of fabrics that were being used in the building of the tabernacle. the parochet, the covers of the Holy of Holies, and there were covers all over with different colors, beautiful colors, and good different kinds of threads. They were making the threads, they were weaving the threads, all of this. And it says, the Zohar says, when they were doing their job, they were saying, this is for the temple, this is for the tabernacle, this is for the holiness. They will keep on saying it. The same way as we learn, traditionally, if you come from a traditional family, so probably your mother taught you when you prepare for Shabbat, every item you take, before you start making it, you cut it, whatever you say, lichvot Shabbat Kodesh, in honor of the holy Shabbat. Why you have to say? Because by saying it, your voice activating holiness in that nonsense item, which could be a carrot or an apple. It was just an apple. Now it's a holy apple. Why? Because you said so. Because you meant so. And if you make your food with love, it will taste totally differently, right? Few people will make the same recipe. It will come out differently because they go through different emotions when they do that. You know what? Don't talk about two people. Talk about yourself. Last week and this week. You make it the same recipe, the same food, comes out differently. Why? Your mood was different. You talk differently. So that's why when you prepare food and you sing and you're happy and you're loving and this food will be healing. But if you're upset when you're making that food, you don't want to eat that food. You know that. Let's say you go to a restaurant and you go to the kind of the kitchen and you hear everybody cursing each other and cursing and screaming and yelling with so much hate. You don't want to eat the food. Why? The Zohar says you're sitting to eat and there's an argument, there's so much anger and hatred. Don't touch the food. You didn't make the food, just the food observed that energy. So it's all about purity again. A garment can be blocked or can be open, depends who created it, with what consciousness. I have a student. She runs many factories of fashion for European big chains of fashion. And her products are a little bit more expensive than others. So the buyers are saying, or the CEOs of the company are saying, why can't you lower the budget? And she says, look, when I'm having a factory in Bangladesh or in Turkey or in Bulgaria or in Egypt, whatever, I go myself. And if the people working over there, they don't have air, they don't have a bathroom, they don't have the basic needs to be of human dignity, I'm not buying these materials. And it says, you know what, you're right, she tells me. Your stuff, we never have to have a sale with your stuff because it's being taken off the shelves. Well, what do you have to do sales with? With something that stays on the shelves, that nobody wants it. Then it goes on sale. That's a way to get rid of the stock. She says, that's the price. Because you make more money, I make more money, and my workers make more money because that's human dignity. That's fair trade. Fair trade, everybody. That's tree of life. Every gets rewarded. Everybody. In unfair trade, everybody loses. Why? Because unfair trade belongs to vessel one, selfishness. People will suffer so I can have a gain. It doesn't work. Who do you think you're cheating? That's a blockage. That's a blockage. Okay, you can have the money. You will never be able to enjoy it. How many people do you know have a lot of money, they never have a nice moment? Yeah, maybe once in a while. There's no blessing in it. There's no place because there's no flow. There's no flow. You cannot cheat the universe. You cannot cheat the system of flow of the universe. You can cheat people's eyes, people's ears, people's minds and hearts. You can cheat for a long time, for a short time. You cannot cheat the universe. That rules. So that's about the garments. Garments can be leopard because the energy over there is blocked. You wear garments to enhance your surrounding light, not to block it. Sometimes you go, you buy something because your girlfriend, your friend, your wife, your mother, well, somebody pushed you or the sellers. Oh, that looks so great on you. Everybody walks. You buy, you bring it home. you can't wear it. Can't wear it. Kill me, I can't wear it. Why? There's negative energy there. You won't admit it because, I went to university, I have a third degree, I have a PhD. What? I can't say there's a negative energy. It has a negative energy. It's leopard. That's leprosy. That's tzarat. It's blocked. It's blocked. You need to have garments that make you feel free, not blocked. Sometimes you wear it. You can't wear it more than 2 seconds. You have to take it off. Right? Why? Either you're more sensitive or the negativity is so intense. Now the Zohar says, it is even worse than that. What about leprosy of the houses? What about leprosy of the houses? Oh, same thing, says the Zohar. Because the way things said in the Torah is like, as we said, we read it before. It was okay. וידבר השם אל משה, okay, we are in chapter 14, verse 33. כי תבוא אל עצלן, as you come to the land of Canaan, and then you conquer it, and you go to live in houses the Canaanites built, okay? And then there will be leprosy in the houses. Says the Zohar, is that a promise? Oh, you're going to come to the promised land, and you're going to live in houses you didn't build, and there's going to be leprosy in the houses. Oh, I'm very excited about it. Really, I can't wait to have a house with leprosy, right? Thank you, God. Thank you for that. That's very weird. So the sages needed to give an answer. So the Zohar says, yes, there's a simple answer. When the Canaanites heard Israelites are coming, like in many wars, what do people do? They're afraid of the conquerors, so they hide the treasures, family heirloom and stuff like this. They dig in the walls under the house and so on, and they hide it. And they think, well, if we lose, we can run away, we come at night, and we just take back. And sometimes they never come back. Okay, so they left treasures under the houses. So you know what? But why calling it leprosy? And why calling the Kohen to come in and heal the house? If I see leprosy on the walls, I start digging. According to this simplistic explanation, I start digging. Where's the treasure? Why should I heal the house? Leprosy? There's a treasure. Let's dig. No, you bring a Kohen. He sees if it's a spot. He brings positive energy. He tries to heal it. If he doesn't manage to heal it, so they take the few stones in that stain on the wall, put new stones, new plaster, new paint. It comes back. You have to destroy the house, remove everything, take it outside the city, and build a new house. This is not about finding treasures. So says the Zohar as follows. The same way the people who prepared the Mishkan, the tabernacle, they had to say on everything they manufactured, this is for the holiness of the Mishkan. This is for the holiness of the Mikdash. Okay? This is for the holiness of the Parochet. Whatever they said and they did. They activated the holiness inside whatever item they were working on. The same thing. When you built the same thing. The Canaanites, they knew that. They were very much into witchcraft. But they used it on the other side. Says the Zohar, whoever does something for idol worshipping, or the other side that is not holy, okay, he does what he does, and he mentions the unholy idol that is worshipping, that frequency of negativity, and that frequency will dwell on what he did. Same way. Okay? And because the Canaanites were very much into dark magic and witchcraft, whatever house they built, they will say something on what we call the cornerstone. And that will invite in the unholy spirit of their idol worshipping. And so, when the Israelites came to their home, the new home in the Holy Land, and they put a mezuzah, which is like the SIM card. You put in the right spot in order so your house will be on the holy network. And then they brought in the Shabbat, and they light Shabbat candles, and they did the Kiddush, and they study, and did all kinds of actions inside the house to bring holiness into the house. Usually, it drove the negativity away, but sometimes the negativity was too strong. He couldn't drive it away. So the fight between the two forces started to create stains on the walls. They called the Kohen to bring extra energy of positivity, of chesed, to remove that negativity. So the Kohen tried in the beginning, and then tried to pull some stones. Only after they could not remove that negativity, they realized the negativity here is too strong. You have to destroy the house, remove the soil, bring a new soil, new stones, and build the new house from the beginning. And that's why it says the Zohar. Because of that, says the Zohar, if that action of destroying the leopard houses was only to find treasures, you could bring back the stones as it was. You do restoration like they do today. You take apart the house, you rebuild it with high quality building, and you restore it. No, you could not use those stones. Why? Because those stones were already tainted with impurity, with negativity. You couldn't use the stones. You couldn't recycle them. Okay? To show, we're talking about spiritual energy. We're not talking about physical energy. Valken Misha Boneh Binyan, verse 150. Remember, it's very powerful. Alken Misha Boneh Binyan, whoever builds a home, a building, כשמתחיל לבנותו, as you start building it, צריך להזכיר בפיו, you have to put a cornerstone, and you have to mention with your mouth, שבונה אותו לעבודת הקדוש ברוך הוא. I'm building this house for the work and the worship of the creator of this universe, the king of all kings. That this house will be a place of love and positivity, of sharing and caring. That when you say that, that power is now in control of the house. You're building a vessel. What is there again? It's again about you start everything with a positive, loving excitement of thought. It will always be like this. It's all in the purity of the mind, the thought, and the heart. This is what this parasha is about. It's about if you keep it pure, then when you have to bring a child, build a house, make something for somebody else, you will already know how to build in, how to put in, how to invite in positivity, what everybody wants to. Being positive invites positivity. Positive customers, positive children, positive, whatever positive. Being negative means you cannot control it, then you're blocked. That's what leprosy is about. That's leprosy of the skin, leprosy of the clothes, the leprosy of the houses. It's all about one thing. Being very focused on creating everything first in your heart and in your mind, positive, pure, and holy. Then you are going to see that whatever comes out will be positive, pure, holy, and full of bliss. A lot of success, because this is what this reading is about. This is what this week is about. Bringing the positive over the negative and realizing that the thought is everything. The thought, if you start with the right thought, with a good intention, it will come out right. Don't worry. Oh, there will be obstacles, always the obstacles, but it will come out right. Shavua Tov, all the best and success for all of us.
You're destroying our building.
I want to say, if you end this, I will be able to